Now with the arrest of the mega wealthy financier Jeffrey Epstein. He is due in federal court here in New York today on new sex trafficking charges after a raid on his Manhattan mansion Saturday. Amy here with the latest. And Amy, Epstein has already served time on past sex charges.
That is correct, George. Allegations of sexual misconduct, in fact, involving minor girls, have swirled around Jeffrey Epstein for more than a decade now. And some of his alleged victims are speaking out to us exclusively, telling us they have been waiting for this day for years and that they will be sitting in those courtroom benches later today. This morning, mega millionaire financier and New York socialite Jeffrey Epstein now in federal custody, according to multiple sources. The 66-year-old money manager, who's been associated with some of the world's most powerful people, including former presidents and movie stars, and owns a private island in the Caribbean, arrested in a covert operation in New Jersey after his private plane landed from France, sources say. His New York City mansion raided by the FBI. Investigators seen wearing masks as they carried out boxes of evidence. In a just unsealed indictment, Epstein faces charges of sex trafficking and conspiracy to commit sex trafficking of minor victims in New York and Florida. It was here at Epstein's mansion in Tony Palm Beach where authorities first began investigating him more than a decade ago. Michelle Licata was 16 years old when she says she was recruited by a fellow high school girl to give Epstein a massage.
He kept saying, God, you're just so beautiful and sexy and gorgeous, and it was making me feel really uncomfortable.
Licata telling investigators in a police interview at the time, Epstein sexually assaulted her.
And then he wanted me to rub his back, and then he kept asking me to go lower and lower. He was kind of talking to me, trying to get to know me about my sex life.
She was one of nearly 40 possible victims identified by authorities at the time. Courtney Wild, another one of his accusers, telling ABC News about an alleged encounter when she was just 14.
I was 14, I had braces on. I remember standing in his kitchen and he also had a lot of girls there all the time.
But in 2008, the Florida power broker struck a controversial secret plea deal, serving 13 months in a county jail on state charges, registering as a sex offender, but securing immunity from federal charges in Florida for himself and his alleged co-conspirators. The federal prosecutor who authorized that deal, the current Secretary of Labor, Alexander Acosta.
Why would you cut this deal with Jeffrey Epstein? Why would you immunize not only him, but all of his friends and employees and everyone who helped him get away with this big scheme?
Michelle Licata telling ABC News overnight, this is a day she has been waiting for.
The first moment of finding out that Jeffrey Epstein was put in jail was so relieving to me. I felt safer. I've waited for this one day just to happen, and it's finally come.
A press conference is expected to begin shortly where officials will go over the charges. The just released indictment alleges Epstein worked and conspired with others, including employees who facilitated his conduct. Epstein will be in court later today. George?
Okay, Amy, thanks. Let's bring in our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams, for more on this. So this faces federal charges, even though federal prosecutors did write a draft indictment last time.
That's right. Last time he pled guilty to two relatively minor state charges. And part of the deal was basically putting together the federal and state and saying, look, we're putting this all into one bucket. And we're saying, do you plead guilty to these two state charges? We're going to make sure you're not prosecuted on the federal charges. That deal is technically still in place. And so the question becomes, okay, so how are they now charging him in federal court on these additional at least two charges?
We'll learn for sure today. One of the clues, it's being run by the Southern District of New York here in New York, but also the Public Corruption Unit.
Right.
He's not a public figure.
That's right. So two questions. First is, how do they get past this non-prosecution agreement? And I think the answer is these have to be new allegations. These have to be ones that were not covered in that 53-page.
So you avoid double jeopardy
exactly,
as well.
Exactly. And you avoid this non-prosecution agreement. Then you're right. Very interesting, the Public Corruption Unit. And they have a unit there that deals with sex trafficking. And they appear to be a minor part of this, which should be of great concern to Epstein, because the question then becomes well, what were they investigating? And could there be additional charges here beyond the ones that we're seeing? So that's got to be something from his perspective that's got to be of real concern.
And this is a guy who's obviously super wealthy, also very well connected to powerful public figures.
It's true. And that's what apparently helped him last time. But I don't think that people should be concerned about that this time around. Why? because these are prosecutors who clearly went out of their way to indict him, meaning there's a non-prosecution agreement in place. You want to make this go away? You can just say, you know what? There's a non-prosecution agreement. This case is done. These prosecutors have basically said, this is serious enough. We're going to go out, we're going to find these additional victims, and it seems, and move forward with this case anyway. So I think that the sort of idea that he's got well-connected friends will help him this time around, very unlikely.
Dan Abrams, thanks very much. Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.